among the few things that I think I understand is how AI is being used from a mock jury perspective. Robert Hirschhorn, a friend of mine, great jury consultant, he has developed a program that will allow you to do a mock trial in front of AI jurors. In other words, you say, I'm going to try a murder case in Amarillo, then through AI, they will assimilate Amarillo jurors, and then you will test the very theories involved in your case. The good thing is, from a criminal defense perspective, most clients can't afford a focus group or mock trial. That's between $75 and $150,000. It's a lot of money, right? So Robert's team has developed this tool that will allow you to do it through AI for $3,000, and that's a big savings. So thing number one is the utilization of AI for mock trials and focus groups. Thing number two, which I found particularly intriguing, was the idea of using micro expressions to analyze what a person is thinking that is either on a jury or how a focus group will with actual humans, how they analyze their micro expressions to determine whether or not your message or your theme is resonating or not. Again, that stuff is fascinating to me.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
That it's gonna pull so much data, and it's gonna take people's just little face expressions and the little things that they do, maybe even body language, and help a lawyer determine whether their message is resonating. It's insane.
Even now, Aaron, through Claude or through ChatGPT or whatever, you can say, okay, I'm a lawyer, I'm trying a sexual abuse of a child case, I'm defending it. What are the best areas of cross-examination of an expert that I should use? And it'll spit out 20 topics. And again, you should use it as a starting point, not an ending point. But that shit wasn't around when I was a young lawyer.
This is actually a fascinating conversation. And we've spoken a little bit about AI in the legal space and kind of the evolution of what the courtroom is going to look like and courtroom lawyers. But do you think that, where do you feel like the human element still, carries weight in terms of these younger students who are maybe going into law school, leaning more into AI? Will that take away from instinct, and is that dangerous? What are your thoughts on that?
It's a good question. I think AI should advance your practice. I don't think it should be your practice, right? There are two kinds of lawyers, as Lanier taught us, nothing but obvious, but it's true. Lawyers who effectively use AI and lawyers that don't. And it's a great tool. And I don't think we'll ever see AI. I hope we'll never see AI jurors, but to not utilize the benefits, the cost savings benefits and the efficiency benefits that those AI tools can bring is foolish. So it's an eye opener to me. And, offhandedly, but relatedly, the folks that I'm seeing in law school now are much more conscious about work-life balance and about only wanting to work 40 hours a week. And that just doesn't resonate with me at all. There are 5 ways that you will never get hired by my firm if you say these things in an interview. Thing number 1, if you ask about work-life balance, you're done. The interview's fucking over. There is no work-life balance. If you want to have work-life balance, go to fucking dental school. Thing number 2, if I find out that you take a pillow on any domestic flight, you're done. I have no use for anybody that uses a pillow on a domestic flight. Thing number 3, if I find out that you had a participation trophy and you let that out, you're done. I don't want anybody who admits, there are kids out there that got participation trophies against their will, but if they admit it, they're done. If you ask about the word paternity leave, no, I don't want to hire anybody. A male maternity leave, sure, that's fair space, but paternity leave is. My son was born. And I hate to go old school, but Hunter was born on well, April 15th, 1996, at about 6:30 in the morning, and I was picking a jury at 9 a.m. that same day. So that's just the way it goes. And finally, but importantly, if any applicant asks if we use pronoun designations on our stationery, fuck you and your he, she. You're out. You're done. So don't ever bring those topics up with me.
That's going to be a fire clip.
Hey.
So if somebody has had a pillow once before, like, is that okay?
Well, look, that's not a predicate question I ask in the interview, but if it comes up collaterally and they're proud of it or they mention it, it's kind of like getting a DWI. You never get a DWI the first time you actually drive drunk. You get a DWI the 1,000th time.
Okay. What about the neck pillows? Is that okay?
No.
Okay.
None of it. Well, I mean, if you have, a collapsed, C7 or something, I'll consider it. But the whole idea that you want to take a pillow in an enclosed tube of germs, what the fuck? Why do you want to take that pillow home? Why do you want to sleep with it? I mean, I don't understand that. If it's an international flight, okay, but they have them. You get on United, they'll give you a fucking pillow. But I was on a flight to get here this morning, and these little motherfuckers were bringing their own pillows. It's a 45-minute flight. What the fuck?
Yeah, Dan just got in from Houston, flew into Dallas today, so that's hilarious. And as a career recruiter, head of talent acquisition and consulting, work-life balance is a topic that used to come up very often. The pandemic was an interesting catalyst in terms of how the employer-employee relationship kind of changed. And, the world of technology that I'm in, maybe a little bit different than a law firm, but consulting firms, law firms, they are similar in a lot of ways. I don't think I've come across anyone who's very successful, any executive, any person who's found a lot of success in their career who prioritizes work-life balance. I mean, you at a certain point you grind and you got to obsess over your career and your work to find success. And there are no shortcuts. And 40-hour work weeks are kind of the bare minimum to be successful. And for people who prioritize family time and other hobbies and stuff, good for you. But there's only so far that you can push your career forward, and only so much success that you can find. I mean, it's a common denominator that I've come across all the candidates I've worked with is that they have a love and passion and work and life. There's like a synergy there. There's not a balance as there's more of harmony, right? I mean, what do you feel like, Dan, at this stage of your career? Because I mean, my experience working with you and obviously Tommy, like we're all day, all night working on the podcast because we want this to be successful. But from our observation and how you operate, how you move, I mean, I feel like, when do you even take time off? Like, do you feel like you're working harder now than you were earlier in your career? Like, what does that look like in terms of your dynamics?
I'm definitely working as hard or harder than I've ever worked in my life. I mean, my wife, my staff, other lawyers, how do you do it? And I said, well, my lifestyle's kind of like a long prison sentence. You just do the best you can with it. But I'm up every day, about 4:45 or 5. I go to the gym at 5:30. I drink my whatever it is, cappuccino or espresso or whatever. I'm lifting by 6. I'm done with the gym by 7:15. I'm at the office by 8:30. Sometimes I'll get out of the office and take a quick lunch somewhere, but I generally ride a desk until 7:30, 8, 9, then go home, rinse and repeat. In trial, dude, it's a 20-hour day. And it's a love-hate relationship. I'm only good at a very few things, and one of which is trying cases, so I enjoy doing the work to be able to try them effectively, but it's a grind. It is not a game for people that want or need or aspire to have a work-life balance. That's complete bullshit.
On the other side of the coin, talking about work-life balance, it makes me think of pro bono work. Can you speak on that a little bit? Have you taken any pro bono work, and sort of what is your mentality and philosophy in terms of pro bono work?
Well, I hesitate to say that I've taken pro bono work because then I'm going to get 10,000 people saying, hey, now that you take pro bono case, take mine.
Listen, Dan gets lots of messages across all the platforms with people asking for representation. Obviously, they're willing, at least in the messages, to pay. How much of that's real, how much of it isn't is funny. But a guy with your experience and the things you've accomplished, obviously your time is money. So, I'll let you continue on.
Wait, also, to all the fans that love this podcast, it is Cogdell Law Uncensored. Any other Cogdell Law affiliate is not related to us. These are fake accounts, so just unfollow them and just so you guys are aware, this is not Dan Cogdell's page. We are Cogdell Law Uncensored.
I'm really flattered that I've got imitators. I don't know why anybody would want to be me, but I'm flattered that they do.
Oh, come on, Dan. You're the man right now. Everyone's they're making fake accounts, bot accounts. They don't do that for the everyday person. It's either really hot girls or really famous people who get bot accounts.
Well, we know which one that is with me.
So I wanted to play this video because it's kind of along the theme of what we just talked about, and it's really just a guy in the gym asking.
But before we get there, just to wrap up the pro bono stuff, did you want to comment on that?
Yeah, certainly I've done pro bono work in the past. I do it very selectively because people think it doesn't cost you anything to do it. Of course it costs you. You have rent, you have your staff, you have your lawyers, you have insurance, you have all the things. And
I guess to speak on that, is there one that you can maybe more recently, or one that stands out that you did take that you sort of read the case and you're like, you know what, I'll do this pro bono?
Once every 4 or 5 years, somebody will contact me, and it's usually a wrongful conviction matter where they think their son or their brother or whoever has been wrongfully convicted, and they ask me to look into it. And it generally starts that way. But it's rare for the reasons I mentioned. It's not free money. And I am very busy. And let's face it, Tommy, I'm closer to 75 than I am to 65, and I got shit to pay for. So,
Tommy, think about since we've started this with Dan, and really got his content game up and started getting reach and all that stuff. How many people have reached out to us and asked for help doing the same for them on the
Goodwill.
on goodwill,
yeah,
right? On goodwill. As if what we do is simple and easy and takes no time. So it's the same shit, right?
Yeah.
But the answer, Tommy, and I'm not soliciting the inquiries, but if I'm convinced that somebody really needs my help and I have the time and the space to give them help, I will. But it's once every few years. It's not once every few minutes.
And if you don't mind, could you speak on sort of one that sort of stood out that you ended up taking?
I've had a couple of wrongful convictions that I worked on the exoneration team and the Innocence Project related stuff. So a couple of them.
Okay.
And then I've had a couple of them where, the kid was just getting way overcharged and he had a shitty lawyer and an overzealous prosecutor, and I got in the middle of it and got the right result pretty quick. So like I say, I'll do it. But it's not something I literally don't have the time to do.
Got it. And then what happens if, let's say, Teaser Pony or somebody in your law firm's like, hey, I want to do some pro bono work.
If he wants to do it, I'll let him. I'll give him the grace to do it for sure.
Yeah.
I would rather him do it than me.
Yeah.
And frankly, he needs the seat time more than me. I've worn out seats, so his is just getting started.
Cool.
So Dan, I want to play this video because I think something that I find very impressive is that not only are you, constantly working, you're constantly traveling, you're doing different speaking engagements. Obviously, you're in court cases. You're managing your practice, but you're also always in the gym, and you prioritize your health and you prioritize fitness. And this is a pretty cool video that I just thought of as we talked about the work-life balance conversation.
Work? Yeah, work. No, work. Your job. My job? 9, 10-hour days. 2 in the morning till about 12 in the afternoon. Wow. So over 40 hours. Yeah. Okay. I'm just checking. All right. Thanks. Appreciate it. Oh, yeah. Yeah. How many hours a week do you work? Work? Yeah, work. Job? Yeah, your job. 50. But you're in here every day. 5 days a week. Wow. Okay. How many hours a week do you work? 60, 70. All right, thank you. So, how many hours a week do you work at your job?
40.
Okay. And you're in here?
Oh, for sure.
Okay, just checking.
Without a doubt.
All right,
Without a
baby.
doubt. Be like you, baby.
How many sets you gonna do?
All of them.
How many reps?
All of them.
So the gist of the video is that all the people that are in the gym kind of grinding, they also are working crazy hours and they prioritize their health. And, you know, objects in motion often stay in motion. And I think a lot of times when I speak to individuals, they make the excuse of that they don't have time and I don't have time to do this or do that. But when you're around people of success, at least like me and Tommy are around you, we really notice that you make time to get what you need done and you don't make very many excuses. So I think that's pretty cool and something, that we feel like is badass.
Well, look, a couple of things stand out about that interview to me. First off, no offense, but I don't think anybody on there was under 40, right? So they were older guys. And I think some of that it gets down. I think you have more discipline when you age than you do younger. The other thing is studies show that weightlifting, particularly the older you get, the more important actually doing weightlifting or lifting weights is. It's not just cardio. It's not running. It's not cycling. You need to lift weights because it promotes bone strength. Lastly, but not leastly, my sobriety, I've been sober now for 3 years, and I've put a heavy focus on everything that's positive in my life, including sobriety. And the from 6 a.m. to 7 a.m. or 7:15, I don't return any fucking text. I don't take any fucking calls. I'm just going in there. That's my time, and nobody can fuck with it, right? I hope you don't get charged with capital murder and you didn't do it between 6 a.m. and 7:15 because I ain't taking your fucking call. But it's my time. It helps me prioritize and release. I don't drink anymore, so that's one of the ways I flush my commode is by going to the gym and having my ass kicked.
Can we talk a little bit more, like unpack that? So you found sobriety for now 2-3 years. Talk us through that journey and how your life has changed in the past few years and kind of what led you to a place where you are dependent on, those drugs of choice.
Alcoholism is systemic in the legal industry. I mean, it's just built into it. And trial lawyers are particularly hard drinkers. I'm not sure that any excessive drinking that I did engage in ever hurt or harmed a client. But it damn sure harmed me because it's poison. It's literally poison. And I looked in the mirror one morning, April 13th of 2022, and there was this old fat guy with nothing but bloodshot eyes. And I swear to God, I looked at this guy for a second. Oh shit, that's me. And I was just disgusted with myself. I just was ashamed to look like that and feel like that at 6 o'clock in the morning, and I just decided, fuck it. I can't do this. I won't do that. So a friend of mine who was into AA, I went to my first AA meeting that day, and I've been sober. I couldn't do it without AA. Some people think it's a cult. Some people think it's goofy. Some people think it's a bunch of street drunks that, There's some funny motherfuckers in AA. There's some good stories, and there's a lot of highly successful people. You find the right meeting. It's actually a pretty good time, but I don't want to say it saved my life, but it damn sure prolonged my life. And I'm a much happier person. And, I've lost 85, 90 pounds. It's been a great change for me. I've got more to come.
Oh yeah, man, that's awesome. So I want to kind of pivot towards Dan. Obviously we do a segment every week, kind of going through your comment section. And this video where you where an attorney calls you unethical, we don't have to rewatch, but I want to dive straight into the comment section I thought was pretty funny. But if my lawyer ain't willing to share a cell with me, I don't want him. 697 likes just on the comment. This comment in particular, I loved because we've talked about Ron White, who also has, spoken on his journey with battling alcohol and his involvement in AA. But he says, if Ron White was a lawyer, Kyle Robinson here, if Ron White was a lawyer, it's this guy. How does that make you feel?
Oh, I love Ron White. He's one of my favorites. I've had that said about me, a couple of dozen times over the years. You remind me of Ron White. I mean, I do smoke a cigar. I've got the gravelly voice. I've got kind of the pause and the Texas shtick. Ron grew up right around the corner from where we are, so that's a great compliment as far as I'm concerned.
Shout out to Ron. We would love to see a Ron and Dan collab. Are there any comments, Tom, that you came across that you want to highlight, or I should pull up here?
No, they're all really funny. I mean,
I like Nadaname or whatever. I'm so damn ethical. I threaten someone with violence for doing their nonviolent job. That's fair. That's fair. But
listen. You got. In response to that comment, you have McLovin here saying, "If your freedom is on the line, would you want a lawyer like you? Would you want a lawyer like him?"
Look, and to be fair, because I know some federal judge is going to have his law clerk look at this one day and look at that and go, well, that son of a bitch is not going to pull that in my court. I've been doing this 42 years. I have tried hundreds of cases all over the country. The number of times that I've gotten face-to-face and either threatened physical violence or been threatened with physical violence is 2 or 3. It's not like I go in there every time and say, hey, motherfucker, I'm going to kick your ass. Let's go. It's not what I do. But
Listen,
the guy had it coming. Guy had it coming.
Dan, you have a fan base, right? Regardless, Dan Cogdell, spelled it wrong. Dan Cogdell is highly respected and has an outstanding reputation.
Well, you'd think my cousin would be able to know how to spell my name.
Is that your cousin?
No, I'm kidding.
That's funny. I'm crying. Sometimes people need to hear that. Oh my God. It's cool, man. I mean, a lot of times I want to jump in the comment section to just have your back, but then I refresh the page and another 50 comments flood in, and there's other people who have your back. So,
well, and for listeners at home, I think I've commented like once. I used to say when I was drinking, I had a Facebook. I should have a guardian interlock put on my Facebook account because I was capable of saying really stupid shit. But to me, the part of the fun of this is just let it happen, and people can say whatever they want about me. It's a free fucking country. I enjoy all the comments, whether they're abrasive or praising. It's interesting to me to see how people react to my shit. So 2 things. 1, I'm not going to comment. And 2, fire away. You can't hurt my feelings. Look at me. I mean, I'm okay with whatever you have to say about me.
it's cool. I mean, how do you feel now at this stage of your career that you've built, a platform? Of course, we just scratched the surface. We're just getting started. I mean, I want our audience to know that we're going to add a live streaming element to the episodes. We're going to get a little more consistent with the posts. Like, we're just going to elevate the platform as we grow with Dan and build a whole new studio out of his office, which we're super, super excited about. But what does it feel like at this stage of your career that you've built this platform that has created dialogue? I mean, they're talking about you. They're talking about the Islam, the Muslim stuff, the Epic City, other cases you've worked on. Woody Harrelson clip went super viral. The Nigerian clip went super viral. Like, people just come to your comment sections and have full dialogue with each other. And sometimes they don't even talk about you. It's just the subject. Like, how does that feel?
I don't want to get all spiritual, but things happen for a reason. And as I've sort of referenced before, my business has really changed. The Trump prosecution, the Trump DOJ, the Trump FBI is really killing my business model, and nobody cares about that, but except me and other white-collar criminal practitioners. But I was trying to not reinvent myself, but put myself out there on a broader spectrum, and to be able to try more cases, more types of cases in more places, and help more people and perfect my craft. But if you would have told me, as I've told you 100 times, if you would have told me 2 months ago that I was going to A, be on TikTok, and B, have 25,000 or whatever we got after 6 weeks, I'd say that's never going to fucking happen. There's not 25,000 people that give a shit about what I have to fucking say. I don't dance. I don't understand this whole TikTok shit, so fuck you. But here we are. Yeah,
I mean, Tommy can attest, but across all your platforms in just, a month and a half, you have over 30,000 followers, 10 million views, hundreds of thousands of likes, thousands, dozens of thousands of, tens of thousands, of comments. And it's exciting. I mean, what you're doing, the messaging, the experience you have, the stories that you share, I think people want to hear. And it is a healthy change of content versus the brain rot that exists on the internet that we like to talk about.
Well, I don't claim to be the world's most interesting man. I am not, but I've seen and done some interesting shit.